think he was nervous?
Yeah.
Why would he be nervous?
Because the window wasn't down.
It was down. I put it down right away. I put it.
Good evening, YouTube. Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we'll be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XLM to BTC, Stellar Lumens to Bitcoin. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up if you want to see more content like this. Otherwise, let's jump into today's video. Hopefully, you guys like today's intro. I just drove back from Long Island, where I live, back to college in Rochester. So hopefully, you guys enjoyed that new time lapse on my new iPhone XS Max, whatever you guys want to call it. Pretty freaking cool. I just found out that it actually can make videos in 4K 60 frames per second, which is pretty interesting. Just found that out today. The video that I had before was 180p, but I will, or 1080p, but the next videos tomorrow and the next day, I'm going to try to stream it or record it in 4K so we can see the difference. Otherwise, let's move on to today's episode. As we can see, I am going to be doing technical analysis on those three currencies, or cryptocurrencies, and then I have an article by what is it by? It is by CCN once again. So we're going to be looking at CCN, and we are going to be looking at this pretty nice bounce that crypto just made in the past couple of hours. Pretty interesting. We're going to see if it bounced off supports that we had previously drawn, and we're going to see whether or not we are going to head higher, or we're going to stake it out and drop lower in price. So currently on the coin market cap, very interesting plays happening right now. Bitcoin dominance 54%, so we're seeing an increase in the price of Bitcoin more than we are seeing it in altcoins. 24-hour volume is 20.3 billion, so we saw a massive spike in 24-hour volume over the past 24 hours. We've seen at least $7.3 billion enter the exchanges and drive prices up, so it'll be very interesting to see where that money impacted the market. We then see a market cap of 130 billion, so I believe it is slightly higher than it was yesterday, not too much, but we are anticipating some sort of bounce. As I scroll down, you guys can see the top 10 cryptos that we have pulled up right now. They are all in green except for Tether, down 0.25%. Otherwise, everything is up 3, 4, 5%. Market is doing fairly well right now. We're seeing lots and lots of green all across the market. It seems like we found some sort of sturdy support, and we are bouncing up off of that. You can see Bitcoin is back to above 4,000. We actually broke 3,500 today, which is quite wild. I was not anticipating that. Otherwise, XRP is up 3.5 at 0.38%. I know a lot of you guys favorite that, but the number one coin for the channel that everybody seems, out of the 400 people that voted, chose Litecoin as their number one coin in their portfolio. Hopefully you guys saw that poll. It was on my community tab and should have popped up on your homepage. If it didn't, let me know in the comments. Litecoin is now finally back up above $31. It's up 6.33%, being the number one gainer in the top 10 cryptos. Beautiful, beautiful. So now I just want to see the change in 24-hour volume. So I'm bringing that up right now. We have Ravencoin, which we have reviewed previously in the past couple of videos. This is up 22%. We do have some double digits across the board. We've done Monacoin before, I believe, and Theta token, once again, Nano. So there are a couple familiar faces up on the exchange. And now let's see what is down. So we're only down. We're not down by double digits, which is nice. Insight Chain, Maker, Chainlink, which we have reviewed, and we have reviewed Augur and Ontology. Those are all down. We've reviewed. They're not really down by much. You can see the most is down by 7, but practically everything is down by 1%, and we're really not seeing much out of all those tokens on the board. So we do look fairly nice. Now, I do want to just jump onto this article right here, and it says, Bitcoin won't last, but crypto is here to stay, Edward Snowden. So I'm not really familiar with Edward Snowden. It might explain it in the article. If not, oh well. Now, one thing I do want to mention is we have seen, and I have seen personally, a lot of your guys' comments saying Bitcoin is going to die, XRP is going to take over, Litecoin is going to take over, so on and so forth. So it is a familiar article. I do think it's going to benefit you guys. So this said, exiled American whistleblower Edward Snowden has weighed in on the conversation surrounding Bitcoin, stating that while the market lodestar will eventually fade away, the use of the crypto will not end with Bitcoin. Speaking in an interview with Ben Wisner, director of ACLU Speech Privacy Tech Project, Snowden said that said that the belief which supports Bitcoin acting as a global currency will merely transfer itself to other cryptocurrencies instead of dissipating. So we're not seeing all of crypto disappear. We're not seeing Bitcoin completely disappear. It will shift itself into other altcoins. You know, old tech, it needs to reinvent itself, rejuvenate into something better. Obviously, it's old tech, you know, which is quite wild. Bitcoin is becoming old tech. We're going to see it turn into other cryptos as we continue on. So it says, responding to a question from Wisner about whether he believes Bitcoin has long-term intrinsic value, Snowden compared Bitcoin to paper fiat money and pointed out that the only difference between fiat and monopoly money is the belief generated by the state backing, which is so true, which is essentially boils down to men with guns. In his view, while Bitcoin and other blockchain-based crypto assets have a severely limited amount of fundamental value, two things in particular ensure that Bitcoin remains viable in the near term. The first, he said, is scarcity, which is caused by Bitcoin's limited supply of 21 million Bitcoin. This is scarcity and engenders the competition to mine the remaining few million Bitcoins, and that alone gives the measure of value. Gives it value. The second is a more significant factor, and his view is that the fact that large segments of the general population view it as a bona fide means of exchange. According to Snowden, this belief that in crypto frameworks as a method of transferring real-world monetary value outside of banking networks is transferable and survived with the death of Bitcoin. So he says, and I quote, that belief is how cryptos have enormous amounts of money across the world electronically without the involvement of banks every single day. One day, capital B, Bitcoin will be gone, but as long as there are people out there who want to be able to move money without banks, cryptos are likely to be valued, and that is so freaking true. So he does go on. There's this little paragraph left. I don't really need to read it. It's not too crazy. He does give out a little quote referencing what the technology could potentially be used for. I can read that, and then we'll move on with our technical analysis. So he says, let's say Bank of America doesn't want to process a payment for someone like me. In the old financial system, they've got an enormous amount of clout, as do their peers, and can make that happen. If a teenager in Venezuela wants to get paid in hard currency for a web development gig they did for someone in Paris, something prohibited by local currency controls, cryptos can make it possible. Bitcoin may not yet really be a private money, but it is a first free money. So it gives people the opportunity to work for certain things and get paid in crypto without the government being involved to regulate it, take it away, say it's not allowed. So it does give free money and a means of exchange. So it's really cool. And otherwise, let's move on to the cryptos, the technical analysis. So a very interesting move did actually take place, and I do just want to zoom out super quick. We are on the 4 hour, and I wanted to check out something. So I could potentially adjust these chartings, and I do kind of want to do that, but it doesn't seem that important. But basically all I would do would be to move this line right here, which I'll do in a second. So we practically did find some sort of support, and it's just like this. Bam, that's where that support is. And then we do actually touch it here as well, but I'd have to shift the graph up from the top, so I can do that really quick. So we did actually manage to touch some sort of support in the past, and then we wrote it as a resistance. So you can see it. This kind of makes a little more sense if I just slide this up to the top. So just like that, now you can see that we're touching the top here and we're touching the top here. So now when I zoom back into the 4 hour, it should look a little bit better. I just had to adjust that graph in front of you. So no strings attached, not trying to hide it. I'll do it all live so you guys can see what my charting is. So you can see right now it looks a lot better. There we go. Here, let's see. Or it might have been too far actually, but you can see we bounced off the top numerous times. We bounced right here using that as a resistance, and then we hit it numerous times down here. So I do have to adjust the graph. I'll probably do that off camera just so I don't have to cut things out. But you can see we are riding some sort of support down, which is quite interesting. So even if I didn't move that, you guys would get the gist as to where crypto and especially Litecoin seems to be having an issue. So we are in some sort of way riding this downtrend back down to lower lows. Even though we did break above it and stopped using it as a resistance, it's seemingly acting as a support right now. Another thing to note, this spike which was profitable, broke into oversold territory down at 24, and you can see we're slowly pulling back out. We seem to have found some sort of support at around $30, so we're kind of hugging that and trying to stay above that. I'm zooming out now to the daily, and you can see this actually makes things look slightly better. Yeah, much better. So you can see right here what I'm referring to. So with this graph now, you can see what it is that I'm talking about. You can see right here we had our resistance in play at around $47. We bounced off of the top of the downtrend, and then we continued to fall lower. So we bounced off right here, retraced back up, came back up to 55 and fell lower, and you can see we're slowly writing this down right now. It's much clearer, so we're continuing to write it down. We're leaving oversold, which is really good on our daily high-low MMA, sorry, our daily relative strength index, and we're slowly pulling up higher. Throwing a lot of terms around kind of gets me a little confused, but yes, our relative strength index is this. The high-low MMA is the green and red band, which are right there, that are slowly approaching in. We seem to be slowly lifting off. We should anticipate us to at least move in price slightly higher. This way we can get back out of that oversold territory, and then we'll see what happens there. We may consolidate out for a little bit, but I do think the price is going to go ever so slightly higher. As for Bitcoin, you guys can see exactly what happened. I pretty much don't even need to elaborate much on this. You can see we had this white line drawn on the charts for quite a while now, and we pretty much called that when the price was around here, we were going to fall to a support at around 36.17, and that's pretty much where we went to. Now, this is the 4 hour. We were oversold when we touched that line, and you can see we're retracing back up due to the fact we were oversold. So that is why we're pulling back up. You can see we're moving fairly nicely, actually, and we may inevitably touch 4,500. It is very possible we could retest $4,500. I know that's a big jump, but we literally just jumped all the way from like 34.70 back up to 4,039. So it's around a $500 jump in a couple of hours, which is really nice. I'm sure a lot of you guys weren't anticipating that. Otherwise, Ethereum pretty much did the same thing that we called. Ethereum, which we've been tracking for quite some time now, and I said was going to fall down to its most closest support at around $96, did exactly that. You could see it tested its downtrend and then fell to its support. Tested its downtrend right here, fell to its support, and you can see it retraced very nicely off of that. And I do think this pattern is going to continue outwards. For those of you who are interested in trading this, we are going to most likely go like this, funnel into this corner, and we could anticipate a break up to the upside, or we could see a correction fall much lower. Two of those options are very viable. Just trying to track when and where this will happen, so that hopefully will give you guys a good probability. Let me pull up that high-low MMA. Oops. Let me pull that up really quick. There we go. All right, and you can see we're still extremely oversold, trading at 23. So I wouldn't be surprised if we move up much higher in the near term, at least testing around 150, 152 in the near future. Otherwise, a quick recap, because we did base this fairly so over XLM. In the long term, now that we're looking at it, the long term, at least for XLM, we'll see if this rolls over to the rest of the market like we discussed. We should anticipate a pullback lower. XLM is still headed lower. You can see it's only a small retracement. It's only a small correction upwards. You can see in the overall from yesterday's candle that is still here. I believe this is the start of today's candle, and you can see that we are pretty much hanging out right there. A slight downtrend did form, but I do think we are definitely headed lower. So at least for XLM, it's not looking too good. Price is definitely going to correct much lower. We are anticipating a move to number 5, so we will be tracking XLM on this episode and the rest of the channel for a couple of weeks. We can add this as a one of the seasons on this episode and the channel, basically tracking XLM and figuring out as this Elliott wave closes which way it breaks, and we could all make some pretty good profit off of that. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the episode and the channel, make sure to subscribe. I don't know what you're waiting for. This is the #1 place to get cryptocurrency advice, make money, invest, and it's all free to you guys. Definitely check out the crypto merch in the links down below. Holidays are coming up, and I would appreciate that. It does help the channel grow. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace. Keep hodling.